Okay, so you want to be successful, you want to make money, you want to have high status, and you basically want financial freedom, but part of you is crippled by anxiety. Now, when I say anxiety, I'm talking about fears, the doubts, when you're sort of sat there at 1 a.m. not sure, like, oh, am I going to make it or not? And maybe you're an anxious person, and maybe you feel quite nervous. It's very hard to become successful when you are an anxious person or a shy person or, like a really, really introverted individual. If you want to achieve your goal of becoming successful or making something out of your life, then it helps to be able to deal with this and handle it. When I was 16, 17, 18, I was incredibly anxious. I found I was very heavily addicted to video games. I wasn't very sure of myself. I didn't really know what I wanted. I let people walk all over me. I had lots of self-doubt, and I was incredibly just this big ball of nervousness basically. It got better with age as my hormones calmed down after puberty and stuff like that. There were a few things that I've been able to do over the last 10 years that have massively reduced my anxiety. And I'm now a rich man, so I'm a decamillionaire. I've made tons of money online, and I'm 27. And so, from 17 to 27, that's a 10-year elapsement. And every year, my anxiety is drastically reduced. I'm at the point now where I don't feel anxious about anything at all, ever. Whether it's public speaking, whether it's approaching a beautiful woman, whether it's anything, I don't really register nerves anymore. And that's something that happens with practice and intent and time. And there's a few things that you can do in your personal life today, effective immediately, to drastically reduce your anxiety, drastically reduce the amount of doubt you have, and actually start, this journey towards success. As men, we are incredibly goal-orientated, which means that we like to move towards a target. This is why men are so obsessed with video games like Call of Duty, because first principle, what is Call of Duty? It's taking aim. And this is why we're obsessed with watching sports as well, and why sports are so popular with men. Because what is football? It's taking aim. It's trying to hit something in a target. Men, we are incredibly obsessed with taking aim and trying to hit the target. And the reason that is, by the way, is evolutionarily speaking, as men, we are designed to hunt and kill, and we like to throw spears and hunt down animals for food. That's why we take so much pleasure. Our entire lives are built for the hunt. Obviously, we're in a position now where instead of hunting, we can just go to a grocery store. So what happens is, because there is no need for us to hunt, this energy, this latent need to hit a target, has to be put somewhere. If you're not putting it somewhere, if you're not putting this hunter's, let's call it the hunter's focus, right? This big, just this entire purpose of your life. If you're not putting that into something, then it registers as anxiety. Anxiety is basically just a massive abundance of energy a lot of the time. A lot of people think that they've got some chemical imbalance, but often all it is just a lot of unconscious uprising from you not channeling something that you desperately need to channel. To me, business and a career or success or getting rich is a hunt, okay? It's a way for you to take that energy and put it onto something. And so the first place to start to drastically reduce your anxiety as fast as possible is deciding what you want. It's hard to do this as a young man because everyone is crippled at the question of what do you want to do with your life. But you need to get really clear on what you want. The progress along a trajectory towards a meaningful outcome is probably the best anti-anxiety medication that you could possibly ever take. It will trump any pill you could ever take. That's another thing, by the way. If you're on pills for any sort of mental health, get off them. Often is the case that you're not anxious and you're not depressed, you just have a shit life. And people don't tell you this because they're afraid of it. Because for some reason, mental health is this big stigmatized thing. A lot of young men are very anxious and depressed, and they think they're told it's because of a chemical imbalance. They're like, oh, it's just the genetics, it's the way you're born. That's not true. No, the reason that you're depressed or anxious is probably because you've got a shitty life. You're overweight, you're broke, you've got low status, you have no control or autonomy, you have no friends, you play video games all the time, your dopaminergic system is completely fried, your serotonin system is completely fried, you have a terrible relationship with your parents, and on top of it all, you hate yourself. You're not depressed, you have a shit life. And anxiety is a mechanism used to track status. This is actually true, right? This is scientifically true. How anxious you feel as a man most of the time depends on your perception of yourself on the social hierarchy. And so my perceived social status, which, let's be honest, as men, is based almost entirely on three things: money, physicality, and ability to attract women. Those are the three main things, because if you've got a really beautiful girl, then you have high status. If you're shredded, you have high status. And if you're rich, you have high status. What do these things indicate? They indicate that you can pretty much put up with pain, right? Because you approach that girl, you put yourself in some sort of pain. But usually the girl comes because you're shredded and because you're rich. Not always, but you get the point. Anyway, all of that to say, that's the best place to start, with a goal. The other way that you can look to increase your confidence and reduce your anxiety as a man is basically to make sure that your body is well taken care of. You want to eat clean and you want to sleep well. If you're consuming loads of caffeine, loads of nicotine, loads of sugar, loads of seed oils, loads of gluten, loads of dairy, and just loads of shit food, then you're going to feel pretty shit. And your emotional state is basically the product of what you consume. Because your brain is what produces your emotions, and your brain is an organic structure. and it's basically, it runs on the fuel that you give it. Giving your body all of this shit and all this fast food and all these takeaways and basically just these instant gratification, like culinary delights, forces your brain to run on unclean energy. It's like your brain wants to run on petrol, but you're feeding it canola oil. And what that does is, when you have these like big spikes of emotion where like, you're like, oh, I'm really happy and I'm really sad. And you just randomly sat there and this wave of anxiety will overwhelm you. That's not how the brain works. That's a sign that you're feeding your body and your brain food that is not conducive to a stable emotional state. And we see this happen with, this is why I don't drink coffee, I don't smoke, I don't do drugs, I hardly ever drink, and I won't eat sugar and I won't eat seed oils. Those 6 or 7 things are the biggest culprits for people being freaky and weird. I wonder why you feel so anxious. Oh, it must just be the chemical imbalance. It's got nothing to do with the fact that you're lighting 100 chemicals on fire and inhaling them every 2 minutes. It's got nothing to do with the fact that you're eating synthetic sugar that didn't even exist 50 years ago. It has no root in evolutionary prowess. Oh, it's not to do with the fact that you're consuming more coffee than, a fucking copywriter in the 60s would have. No, it's nothing to do with the things you're putting into your body. It's nothing to do with the seed oils that you're eating. It's all just a chemical imbalance, mate. Just take these pills and you'll feel better. I don't fucking buy it. Second of that is sleep. You're sleeping like shit, you're gonna feel like shit. That shouldn't come as a surprise to you, so we're not gonna spend too much longer on that. The fourth thing, rather, is your ignorance. Your ignorance to a higher power. Now, I'm not here to tell you to believe in God. I'm not here to tell you to be a Christian, a Muslim, a Jew, a Sikh, whatever. I'm not here to push a religion on you. But if you fundamentally believe that there is no God and there is no higher power, then that is very, very conducive to very big anxious states. There is a reason why, for basically the entirety of civilization, humankind has been religious. It's because people who are religious, and religion is a wonderful way to drastically reduce your anxiety and drastically reduce your terror and fear. Now, a lot of people, atheists especially, see religion as like this coping mechanism for the masses, like an opiate for the masses, I think some atheists called it. And I'm not here to tell you what to believe in and what religion you should believe in. What I'm going to tell you is when I found God, and I'm not going to preach any specific religion on you, I'm just saying God as, like whatever you would perceive that to be. That could be it could be a religion, it could be your specific religion that you just believe in and you alone. You could be a Buddhist, I don't care, right? But when I found God, my anxiety levels dropped so drastically because I have a fundamental faith and belief that if I act properly and I am fundamentally good and abide by the rules of the faith that I'm set on, it's kind of like it's a rule book for your behavior, and suddenly you know what you need to do and how you need to behave, and you haven't got this weird anxious guessing game of whether or not you're doing the right thing. And I find that atheism is a very, very quick route to feeling psychologically and emotionally disrupted. Now, that's just for me. It might not be for you, okay? So I'm not here to tell you that you should believe in God or anything. I'm just saying that there is actual clinical evidence on this, that people who are religious do tend to be significantly calmer and more relaxed, because of course you are. You have faith that God's looking out for you. So those are 4 things that you should do to drastically reduce your anxiety. And it's a pretty good place to start, because if you can do this, your emotions are going to be way more regulated, far less doubt, far less terror, and it tends to be conducive to productivity and getting more done so you can get your goals and make money. So yeah, I hope it helps you. I've built a program called Imperium Academy. It's a step-by-step training program that walks you through everything on how to start an agency, coaching or consulting business in 6 weeks or less. It's completely free. There's no credit card required. There's already 30,000 people getting results in there. So go and check it out. It will be the best thing you ever do for your life, and I'll see you in the next video.